Good. How you guys doing? Bakhram,
Oh.
hello. How are you?
Oh,
Hi, how are you?
Can you hear us?
We hear you.
Ничего. 1 second, I'm trying to set.
Рома, ну
What
что,
on-
тебя тоже видели?
This is the coach Roma. I'll be helping to translate and Bakhram.
All right.
You guys don't need to see me too much, anyways.
Okay. Okay. So there's gonna be some slight feedback when I speak because you guys don't have the headphones on, but we'll just deal with it and try to get you guys in and out as quickly as possible. So if you could just tell him thank you for coming on and giving us the opportunity, obviously, to interview him, we appreciate it.
Yeah, he understands majority of what you're saying. So
Oh,
yeah, he understands. He's just shy. We need to open him up a little bit.
okay, okay, perfect, perfect. Well, we got a lot of questions from the people, so I'm gonna jump straight into that. We got Jerv in the 973. He's in Miami. He says, "This is Jerv from New Jersey. Congrats on the amazing win. You won me some money thanks to Baby Joker, which is a community member that he told us every chance he called in, because this is a call-in show. He told us every chance he called in that you would win and that you would be as dominant as you was. But getting back to Jerv, he says there's a lot of talk about your power being PEDs or loaded.
Him, because it's a lot. I don't think. Он говорит, что кто-то, короче, фанат написал, спасибо, что
Да,
ты для выполнения. Говорит, я каждый раз звонил и говорил, что ты выиграешь. Ну, ему он звонил, говорил, ну, там, у них это радио, типа, понял? Люди звонят постоянно.
Значит, он разбирается в боксе.
He says, so he understands boxing well.
All right. Yeah, he does, man. Shout out to Joker. That's not the first time. So this person says there's been a lot of talk about your power being performance enhancement drugs or loaded gloves. I don't believe that. But what do you attribute your power to, and what's going through your mind when you're face to face with your opponent at weigh-ins? Thanks for joining the show.
Говорит, много разговоров о том, что твои силы удара и разницу просто большая очень, и типа многие намекают на то, что ты там принимал какие-то, употребил какие-то вещества запрещенные, либо этот, it was encased drugs, либо что-то в перчатках было.
Loaded gloves.
Ну,
Yeah.
для этого же всего есть комиссия. Я же прохожу тестирование, и вроде бы все хорошо было. Я не знаю, может, я воду пил какую-то необычную.
Yeah, he says for all that we have a commission that checks gloves and everything else and seals everything and tests him also on a drug test. Plus, he was tested by WADA all the time.
Nice.
And, yeah, he says maybe he had some special water he was drinking. I don't know.
I would like to follow up. Some of my audience believes that it's what the trainer said, that in the past he was fighting through Ramadan, he wasn't fighting at normal hours, and this fight he had the right time to train. Is that correct?
Is that a question to a trainer? Or?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, 100%. That's correct. Yes. Makes a big difference, you know?
So what were some of the differences in the training hours during Ramadan and obviously during this particular training camp for Tszyu?
Have you ever
For
been
Ramadan,
hungry?
you still have to fast all day. Shout out to Bakhram. I'm Hamza. Assalamu alaikum. You know, Ramadan, just to add it real quick, you're not eating from sun up to sundown. So you have to, it's hard to work during that time. But one of the rules of Islam is if you're at work, you don't eat. But when you're a devout Muslim and you really practice, you're still going to participate in Ramadan because it makes you stronger spiritually through Allah. But it's just hard to train when you're fasting all day. You know, you're not drinking any water. It's the most powerful fast, and it's an extreme fast.
And it wasn't the beginning of it, it was the 20th day. It was already for 3 weeks like that.
Yeah, that's the third week. That's when it get real.
Yeah,
Coach, you want to add something?
Boy, they said properly, but another thing, another problem was that we were training at nights. so he can like drink water during, you know, the breaks, during the sparring breaks, or, you know, mid-work breaks, whatever, right? Because during the day he can't. So trainings were like at 9 p.m. to like 11:30, then another one from 3 a.m. to like 4:30, right? So then he had to come home and rest during the day where everybody was like doing something. His family was here, his kids were here, anyways, in the beginning time, you know, so it was pretty hard. People might not understand how hard it was, but it was very hard.
Besides that, I told Amin about, because I've been also throughout the whole time with him. I told Amin it wasn't only that, also, you know, staying away from his home for the whole year. There was no clarity about the fight. He couldn't get a fight, so it was always something canceled, something postponed. So he was in a training camp for the whole year before Ramadan, and then basically just drained in general. And now he just came from Russia, stayed 2 weeks. Got himself prepared for the camp, did fight camp and fought, and you know it was perfect camp. But before that, for the whole year, just his body was drained for that fight, and then Ramadan.
We have Lil Zudit from South Africa, Southwest Africa, that says, do you plan on moving to 160 or 168, or do you want to reign like Marvin Hagler at 154?
Ты хочешь подняться в 160 или 168, это Саут Африка, кто-то спрашивает. Либо хочешь как Хеглер в
Да,
154.
не, ну, если мы сможем объединить быстро поясам, я подниму 160 по-любому, но 168 это уже много. Мой вес обычный только там, 175 паунтов.
Yeah, he says if he can unify titles quick, he'll definitely move up to 160. 168 is probably too big for him because his normal weight is 175.
I have James Valdez in San Antonio, Texas, that says, do you think Sergey Bokachek should have gotten the victory over Virgil Ortiz?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I love that you answered that one yourself in English. I got Toledo Trees in Ohio. If you can't convince the other 154 champs to fight you, would you consider going up fighting Carlos Adames or Islandri Lara since you're dealing with the PBC?
Вообще никаких проблем.
No problem at all.
Nice, nice. We have Spider Rico in Oregon that asks, what time do you usually wake up every day, and do you drink coffee?
Да, каждый.
He says,
Shout out to the black coffee.
if someone wants to get him coffee, 2 shots. What time?
Да, 9 часов, ну, утром 6 часов на молитву, 5:30, а потом уже обычно в 9 часов, когда готовлюсь.
So normally 5:36 a.m. for a prayer, and then he goes back to sleep, and then wakes up whenever he has to train, like 9:30, 10 a.m.
Скажи, Рома я единственный его ученик, который может тренироваться в 11 часов. До этого у него только в 5 утра утром тренировки были.
Yeah, he says Roma is the only. He's only a Roman's only one athlete that he can train at 11 a.m. Normally, his students train very early.
Очень люблю спать.
He likes to sleep a lot, and if someone wants to get him a coffee, double shot espresso Raf.
All right. Ask him when he's not in camp, does he still wake up for prayer and go back to sleep, or does he happen to stay up since he doesn't have to go to the gym?
Когда ты не в лагере в тренировочном, ты все равно просыпаешься на молитву и потом
Конечно.
ложишься спать, или ты уже...
Не, ложусь спать, конечно.
Yeah,
Конечно.
always same. Has to go back to
Когда
sleep.
я даже не готовлюсь к кемпу, у нас всегда одна тренировка в день обязательно.
Even if he's not in camp, he has to wake up and train at least once a day.
Okay, nice. Bones from Fort Worth, Texas. What did you eat after the weigh-in, and what do you usually eat after weigh-ins? Thank you.
Понял.
Ну да.
После взвешивания что ты ел и что ты обычно ешь?
Блин, там много, скажи, ты знаешь, макароны, вот это, что я ел.
Coach knows, I don't know.
So we give him usually
То, что мне
some,
He's what they
some
give him.
salty stuff, you know, some electrolytes, coconut water. Then after 2 hours, very small sips. You know what I mean? Very small sips. Maybe
Chips.
bag of Lay's chips sometimes. You know, most of the time actually.
Tszyu was talking about it.
Yeah.
He's
And
giving
then
you chips.
after the 1 or 2 hours, then we start feeding him with carbs and protein.
Any carbs in particular?
Yeah,
Pasta?
spaghetti,
Oh, okay.
spaghetti, rice. You know, very clean, with no oil, nothing fried, and some good like either chicken or fish. No steak.
You
Скажи, Рома.
preparing it yourself?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
Oh, there's a-
okay. I thought you were gonna
Oh,
say
man, in no kitchen,
absolutely.
bro. What?
I got Tszyu.
His most favorite is the Lay's chips right after.
Oh, wait. So Frito Lay's chips? What, the plain?
Yeah, just plain Lay's chips. Like I
Yeah,
give
yeah.
after
Yeah.
weightings
Salt.
to feed.
I love
It's,
those salty ones. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
the salt will retain the water. You know, because if you drink water right away, your body is used to releasing the water. Because of the long camp, you have so clean body. As soon as you put water in there, the water goes out right away. So you have to put the chips in before, or some kind of salt, some crackers with carb, you know, so it can hold the water. You know what I mean?
Coach, since I got you, do you think he's going to be able to replicate this performance? Obviously, this performance, you know, it sends shockwaves through the boxing industry. You know, no one was expecting that type of, I mean, you know, 3 knockdowns, a knockout. You know, even Tszyu said he doesn't know what he got hit. Was that just a magical night, or can we see Bakhram do this to a Terrence Crawford, a Virgil Ortiz, you know, a Sergey Boyacek, Madrimov? Can he get knockouts and knockdowns the way that he did in this last fight?
We're just gonna have to get those fights, and we'll show you. You know what I mean? Every fighter is different. Every game plan will be different. Right now, I'm not looking at anybody to prepare any kind of game plan until we get a fight, and then we can go over the opponent, and you know, because unnecessary stress and all that stuff putting in, you know, in his head or in my head doesn't make any sense. We'll get a fighter, we know who we're fighting, then we'll prepare for that person, and we'll execute if it's gonna be a knockout or not a knockout. Well, this fight we didn't, you know, plan to knock him out like that. We planned to go to a 12-round fight, but you know, knockout was gonna come. So whatever round doesn't matter. So we just prepare for 12 rounds, and if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Скажи, что у всех их объединяет то, что у них есть голова.
Yeah, everybody. The only thing everybody has very similarity from every fighter. They all have a head and a chin and a brain inside that shakes and shuts them off, kind of. That's what he says. So.
Well,
Hey, can you
this
ask him how was it training with Virgil Hunter? Because I remember I used to come over to the gym in Oakland and see him in Virgil Hunter's gym, you know, just working and getting more experience. That was like one of the first times I seen Bakhram in the Virgil Hunter gym. It was a little while ago, but could you just talk about that experience and, you know, just being over there with other pros and stuff like that?
Да, были хорошие тренировки, хороший тренер, я ему очень благодарен за то, что он меня тренировал.
It was great trainings.
Несколько подготовок. Да, было все хорошо.
Everything was great, very good coach, and I appreciate
Очень
him.
умный тренер.
How much he taught me. He's a very smart coach, very smart man. Everything was great.
Coach, did you prepare differently for the Tszyu fight compared to other fights?
Yeah, of course. Every fighter is different. Yeah, of course.
Anything specific you could give us? That question was from Tszyu in the 240.
Yeah, well, the main mistake Tszyu does, he doesn't kind of bend his knees so much. He's off balance a lot of times. When he gets attacked, he doesn't jump back like with his feet. He just pulls back with his upper body. He's exposed to the left straight a lot. That's the second knockdown where he was. We worked on that, like, I don't know, maybe 100 rounds for that only. He's exposed when he goes to the liver shot. He's exposed with the right uppercut, left hook, or left hook, right uppercut, either one. We've been drilling that for, I don't know, another 100 rounds maybe. We just keep drilling the same things. I'm not, when we prepare, I don't try to like stress him with stuff like, oh, we're gonna do this because he does this. I don't stress him with anything. I just make a game plan. I don't even tell him why. maybe from the beginning time, I tell him, okay, we do this. When this scenario comes, this is what you do. And that's it. And we keep drilling of the same, over and over and over and over. And then it becomes like natural. When we go there, you don't even tell him. You just tell him you know what to do. That's it. And he does it.
All right. Bakhram, we got Bam from Chicago that says, what do you have to say to all the people believing your gloves were loaded?
Что ты хочешь сказать до тех,
У
что
тебя есть
думают?
перчатки, подожди.
Yes, his gloves here.
Hold on, man. This is the actual. Okay, thank God it's here. Thank God it's here. This is the actual gloves from the fight. All right, loaded with whole bunch of horsehair, and I don't know what this is loaded with, but this is the actual gloves. Look, they even been cut. This is the left. This is the one who did the job actually. All right, I think this belongs in the museum.
The museum is nasty work.
It belongs to the museum in Australia, maybe. I don't know. But he's seen these gloves. He's seen these gloves at the fight night first time. No, sorry, at the weigh-ins, first time ever. There was two of them. He put them on. He picked this pair, and the other team put them on. Whatever, checked them out. Whatever. The commission checked them out. They sealed it and they gave it to us at the fight day, right? Like maybe an hour before the fight. So we put them right on. We didn't even have chance to, like, you know how they break this shit? We didn't have chance for that, okay? So, and the second pair is by Rival. They took back to the Rival's office and they have it. So, I don't know.
For those who don't know, also when you put on the gloves, commissioner is always next to you. So you cannot even go to the bathroom without a commission to follow you. So this whole nonsense
Yeah,
is
I don't think people know that on a professional level. Like when you're in the back, the commission is on your back. You can't even take a urine without them watching
Let him
and
answer, Troy.
doing everything.
Проблема в том, что не в перчатках, а в том, что как Рома меня тренирует. Надо его винить, а не перчатки винить.
He says the problem is not in the gloves. The problem is Roma, how he trains him and how he tortures him every day in the gym. So you gotta blame him instead.
Nice. We got Call Me MPO, G from Brooklyn. What is your cheat meal favorite food?
Бургер и суши.
Burger and sushi.
Oh, sushi.
Oh yeah, there's a few
And
places.
what was the first one? Or is it the name of the restaurant?
Burger. He likes burgers a lot, and he likes sushi,
Okay, burgers and sushi. I love sushi.
especially hand rolls. Favorites. Spicy salmon hand roll, easy
Okay.
rice with on top.
Nice. Got it.
Bakhram, great win, champ. I wanted to ask you, do you feel that Jermell Charlo was ducking you since he was paying you a lot of step aside money? Did he know that you would have whooped his ass too?
Как ты думаешь, Джамал Чарло тебя нарочно от тебя избегал? Из-за того, что он тебе платил большие деньги?
Я не думаю, что он нарочно меня избегал. У него были другие большие бои, он объединял пояса, он хотел стать абсолютным чемпионом. В итоге он это встал и получил очень большой бой с Канело, поэтому я не думаю, что он меня боялся или избегал. Но вопрос в том, что чтобы все знали, и Тszyu об этом говорил, что типа как будто я брал деньги и готов был уйти назад. И я ни разу не соглашался на отступные, у меня просто не было выбора. То, что мне сказали, или дерись в его андеркарте, или ты можешь не драться и просто ждать его 4 года без боев.
All right, so here's the thing. I don't think that. I mean, he says he doesn't think that Charlo was avoiding him or something on purpose. He was just. It was easier for him to pay step aside money and fight for unification fights, and then build himself to fight against Canelo for big money. So he was just doing the smart business moves. He was not like just avoiding him on purpose. I don't think so. But also, Tszyu was also mentioning that Bakhram basically was taking step aside money on purpose just to get easy fights. No, it was no choice for Bakhram. He would never accept that. It was no choice. So basically, the only choice was either wait until Charlo decides to fight you or fight on his undercard for big money. So it was never his choice.
Yeah, but if you don't accept the step aside money, Charlo can't fight.
Но если ты не примешь эти деньги, Чарло не может драться.
The only like that he's literally paying you to step aside so that he can fight.
He was
Не
unifying
было
titles,
такого.
so he can unify titles, he says.
Let me give you the rules. Whenever you have a unification,
They trumped the mandatory, but there was
Mandatory
times where he was. Remember,
the
he
mandatory has
lost.
to sit and wait.
Yeah, but
the
he
mandatory-
lost.
What?
He lost to Castaño.
Who lost?
Charlo.
Он проиграл?
Well, he
Нет,
never
нет.
lost. There was a draw, and the second fight he won. What are you
Excuse
talking
me.
about?
Yes, draw. I meant to say.
Yeah, that
I'm
was a
sorry.
draw, it was a
Yeah,
draw.
but
Yeah, so he did not lose. He was a
yeah,
unification.
you're right. Being a draw, the contract sticks. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
and then-
I'm
and the
thinking
second
loss.
fight was another unification. So, people don't check the facts. People don't know the rules, and they just speak. They have to check the facts first.
Ну,
Yeah, I
просто
definitely thought that was a loss. It was a draw. I am apologize about that.
у меня был шанс подраться за 4 пояса с Чарло, стать за один бой абсолютным чемпионом. Как я мог отказаться ради каких-то денег? Если бы я его выиграл, я мог бы драться, грубо говоря, я мог бы драться с этим же Канело. Как я мог отказаться, если у меня был бы шанс за один бой стать абсолютным чемпионом?
He says
Это глупость.
this is stupid because at some point Charlo was obviously undisputed champion, and if Bakhram fought him, he would fight for all belts. Why would he accept step aside money, do not have a chance to fight him in one fight to get all 4 belts, and then maybe he would have fought Canelo if he got all belts. So why would he take step aside money on purpose,
И еще, я был сначала обязательным претендентом для Росарио. Что я не смог бы выиграть Росарио и завоевать 2 пояса? Какие бы деньги я бы смог бы заработать, если бы у меня было бы 2 пояса? Это началось с этого времени. Как я мог отказаться от Росарио? Где Росарио? Кто он?
He says first he was mandatory for Rosario, and he could have beat him for 2 titles, and he's like, that would be a very good fight for me, and imagine why would I take a step aside money if I could win 2 titles and make a lot more money.
Еще бы, если бы люди знали бы, сколько мне заплатили, чтобы я с Росарио не дрался бы, за бой мог бы в 10 раз больше заработать.
If он не понял что.
Но чтобы я отступил от Росарио, не стал с ним драться, когда они с Чарло дрались, мне настолько мало денег, по идее, дали, что за бой с Чарло я мог в 10 раз больше заработать.
He says plus when forcefully basically he had to step aside not to fight Rosario. They didn't pay him a lot, and it would be silly to do it on purpose, because if he would have fought Charlo, he would make a lot more. But they basically pushed him aside so Rosario can fight Charlo.
No, definitely the lack of knowledge came in the unifications. We hear that all the time. The unifications trump mandatories, but I guess you're living proof that those fighters kept unifying, pushing the mandatory back. Pretty wild.
Yeah, I'll tell you something also. Bakhram is not very active on social media, but I was like with him a couple times when he would just post. I don't think he just has a big following, but he kept posting for a while that he wants to fight Charlo. He would call him out, and just on story posts, he would call out other fighters about a year ago. He would call out Charlo. He would call out Crawford. You remember? Yeah, he would call out everybody. Just nobody would, it was just impossible to make it happen.
I got who's Bon Clay. Ask him if he thought Tim fight would have been that easy or over so fast.
Ты думал, что с Тимом будет такой быстрый, легкий будет?
Ну, я не думал, что он будет такой быстрый, легкий, но я понимал, если мы один раз точно попадем, я и до интервью за день до боя даже говорил, что если мы попадем, то он 100% упадет, и мы попали быстрее, раньше, поэтому он закончил раньше. Попали бы мы позже, он закончился бы позже.
So he was confident that it was a matter of time. A day before the fight, he had an interview, and you guys can look it up, and he was saying all about when he connects. He knew when he connects, then the Tszyu will feel it and will go down. So he didn't expect it's going to be that quick or later. He knew that it's just a matter of time when he connects. He just has to land a clean shot, and it's going to be over.
We got Chad in Canada that says, Bakhram, do you feel that 154 is comfortable for your weight? 160 needs more talent and is ripe for the taking.
Ну, в общем, нету никаких проблем 154, потому что утром перед взвешиванием я
Не, он
вообще...
имеет в виду больше, типа, 160, там больше талантов нужно. И, типа, как раз готово для того, чтобы ты забрал весь
Ну,
этот вес.
я думаю, заберем этот вес и потом можем переходить в следующий.
Says once we take all the belts here, we will
У меня
move
нету
on and take
никаких
belts
проблем с
over there.
весом.
But he has no problems to make weight to 154 at all.
Rob G says, good win, champ. Does Tszyu hit hard? And who hit you the hardest?
Дю бьет сильно, и если кто вообще в тебя в карьере самый сильный бил?
Ну, Tszyu не бьет сильно, но, по крайней мере, я это не почувствовал. Когда после первого раунда я сел в угол, Рома спрашивает, как ты его чувствуешь? Я сказал, там ничего нету. И Рома сказал, хорошо, тогда работаем. Самый сильный меня ударил на спаррингах в 2017 или 2018 году. Это был Александр Гвоздик, когда я с ним спарринговал. Больше я не помню, что прям кто-то меня сильно ударил.
He's after the first round, he said in his corner, and Roma asked him if Dew hits hard, if you felt his punches. He said, no, I didn't feel nothing. And he says, I don't know if he hits hard or not, but I didn't feel any power. He's like, throughout my whole career, the only time that someone hit me really hard that I felt a little buzz, it was Alexander Gvozdyk during the sparring back in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Like, he hits really hard.
So ask him, was he impressed with David Benavidez' win over Vazdek?
Тебя удивила победа Бенавидеса над
Нет, но Гвоздик же брал много пауз. Если бы он выиграл бы, когда Гвоздик был бы на пике, тогда бы меня бы это удивило. А так, ну, плюс-минус я думал, что больше фаворит Бенавидес, чем Гвоздик.
He says no, not really, because Gvozdyk took a lot of breaks between, and if he would have beat him during Gvozdyk prime, that would impress me. But I kind of thought that he's gonna win.
Гвоздик был очень хороший, когда во времена до Бетербиева он был реально очень хороший.
Gvozdyk was really good right before the fight with Beterbiev. He was really good.
So is he saying that Beterbiev finished him?
Ты имеешь в виду, что Бетербиев типа закончил его?
Нет, потому что после Бетербиева он на 3,5 года паузу или на 3 года паузу брал, а после 3 лет возвращаться, ну, это очень тяжело, и возраст уже был не такой.
Not really. He was actually winning on scorecards with Beterbiev up until that, but not really. He says that he just took 3 years break, and at this age, it's a long time to take a break after Beterbiev and fight for big fights like that. You know what's funny? I had a dinner with Gvozdyk week before the fight, me personally, and I asked him about the fight, and there was a group of people, and everybody's like, "Oh, but Duel hit so hard," and Gvozdyk said to everybody, he's like, "You guys don't know how hard Bakhram hits." Gvozdyk, yeah, he was like, "You guys don't understand how hard Bakhram hits. Like, don't even think that he doesn't hit hard."
В то время мы много спарринговали и с Гвоздиком, и с Ковалевым.
He says he used to spar a lot with the big guys, Gvozdyk and Kovalov. He used to spar back then in Oxnard a lot with them.
So with that train of thought, he's not impressed with Canelo's win over Kovalev either?
Ты не удивлен? Победа Канело?
Ну, я не удивлен, потому что Ковалев принял этот бой после своего очень тяжелого боя с Ярдом через там 2 месяца, что ли.
Бой состоялся через 2 месяца?
Да, нет, бой состоялся после Ярда через 2 месяца, и Ковалев был не в лучших своих кондициях.
He said, I don't think Kovalev was in his best conditions, because he fought very hard fight with the Yard, and literally 2 months later he fought Canelo. That's not enough time to recover after such a hard fight, but yeah, he's like, that's why I didn't think that Kovalev was at his best.
One more from me. We've been getting here, obviously it's a call-in show. A lot of people feel that after this fight, he resembles Artur Beterbiev. Does he take that as a compliment?
Это после этого боя многие говорят, что ты типа такой же, как Бетербиев. Ты это воспринимаешь как комплимент?
Ну, Бетербиев очень сильный боксер. Он, если меня там с кем-то сравнивают с какими-то хорошими, это наверное, хорошо, но у нас вообще разные стили. Я дерусь совсем по-другому.
Может, из-за вида.
Может быть, да, из-за бороды.
He's like, I don't know, Beterbiev is a great fighter, so I take it as a compliment, of course, but we have a completely different styles. Maybe because of our looks, we kind of have similarities. That's why they compare, but our styles are completely different.
All right, all right. Let me get back to the
Uh,
people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Bakhram. Madrimov had some sort of success against Terrence Bud Crawford. Do you think Terrence Bud Crawford doesn't have the same energy he has for you that he had for possibly fighting a Tszyu?
У Мадримова было много успехов в бою с Кроуфордом, успешных моментов. One more time about Crawford has some image. What do you mean?
By energy, he means the willingness to fight Bakhram the way he was willing to fight Tszyu.
Он же хотел с Дю драться, Кроуфорд. Ну, ты думаешь, он настолько же так же само хочет с тобой драться, как он хотел с Дю драться?
Я не знаю, я думаю, наверное, со мной он не особо будет хотеть драться, потому что я не такой звездный боец и не так много разговариваю, как Дзю. Может быть, я и поопаснее буду, чем Дзю чуть-чуть. Поэтому я не знаю, надо у Кроуфорда спросить. В любом случае, для меня это очень хороший бой и хорошее испытание подраться с номером 1, вне зависимости от весовой категории бойцом. Я большой его фанат.
He says, I'm a big fan of Terence Crawford, and I just don't think, but I don't think he wants this fight as much as he would want to fight Zhu, because I'm probably a little more dangerous than Zhu, and also that I don't talk as much as Zhu, and I don't have such a big name as Zhu, so I don't think he gains anything as much that from Zhu's fighting me.
Can you ask him what he feels would have been different if it would have been him in the ring with instead of Madrimov? Because we see Madrimov's style. He's kind of like a lot of herky-jerky. That's not what Bakhram is.
Herky-jerky. Говорит, как ты думаешь, что было, если бы ты дрался в тот день с Кроуфордом, что было по-другому? Потому что мы видели Мадримов стиль, он очень много дергается сам, и типа неудобно, а это не твой стиль.
Ну, я тоже могу очень много дергать, и мы на тренировках это много отрабатываем. Это в зависимости от боя. Единственное, что бы я сделал бы по-другому, чем Мадримов. Мадримов первые 6 раундов просто ждал. Я бы шел бы вперед и рисковал бы намного больше, чем бы он. Это, я думаю, это его самая главная ошибка. Как будто такое ощущение, как будто он хотел вначале не выиграть бой, а просто хорошо смотреться. А потом в конце уже, когда он понял, что он может, он уже пошел вперед, но этого было мало.
He says, I can actually be herky-jerky as well. We train a lot like that during the camp, but he's like, the only thing I would do different, I would come more forward and risk more, because I've noticed that first 6 rounds, Madrimov wasn't risking a lot. He was just kind of waiting, and it seemed like he just wanted to look good in this fight, but he wasn't really trying to win. And then when he felt at the end of the fight that he can win, he went forward, but it was too late. I would come more forward and I would attack more and risk more.
Did they ever meet in amateurs, Bakhram and Madrimov?
No.
Okay. Just asking. Never know. You never know.
Yes.
Я не дрался.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. Like, technically, what is your style possess, or like, what are your favorite boxers, whether they be in Russia or any boxers that you watched when you were younger? How did you create your style, and you and your coaches, when you watching technically how you move, how you slip, how who did you watch?
Кого ты смотрел, когда ты рос, и от кого-то, чьего-то стиля ты что-то набирал, чтобы свой стиль построить?
Ну, я не мог от него ничего набрать, потому что я не такой талантливый, не такой боксер, как Рой Джонс, но я смотрел, наверное, скорее всего, практически все бои, которые есть в интернете, и в бокс я пошел после того, как увидел, как он в 2003 году выиграл бой, и я пошел на следующий день или там через 2 дня на тренировку, думаю, что я могу сделать так же.
He says, my favorite fighter of all time is Roy Jones Jr. And I mean, I don't fight like that at all. And I'm not as technical and talented as him. But he's one of my favorite fighters, someone I looked up for, watched all of his fights. And even back in 2003 when I watched his fight, and I really loved his style. And that made me go next day and start boxing.
All right, we got Jimmy that says, congrats, champ, on the win. Jimmy from Houston, Texas. What did you eat before and after the fight? And what is your favorite meal? Thanks for coming on the show and the Best Boxing Podcast. So he's already said his favorite meal is burgers and sushi, and he already told us what he had before. He did not say what he had after the fight.
Что ты ел после боя?
После боя я уже ел все, и суши, и бургеры, и сладкое, все, уже я все попробовал.
After the fight, he had everything: sushi, burgers, sweets.
Сейчас я уже ничего не хочу.
Now I don't want anything.
What sweets? Is he a chocolate guy? What sweets does he like?
Krispy Kremes.
Krispy Kremes.
Krispy Kremes. I love Krispy Kremes. That's funny. You guys have that over there in Russia?
No.
Oh, only in Cali?
No, Los Angeles.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Also.
We got Jerry Soriano that says, great win. Congratulations, champ. This is Jerry Soriano, Yolanda for life. I watched some of your previous fights, and you never looked quite this sharp and powerful. Do you agree? And if so, what changed for the Tszyu fight? Thanks in advance. You said the training, right? He thinks it's the training. The trainer and the training will keep being
Torture.
the answer. The torture and training. We got Tip Bellis. Say again?
Hold on one second.
Когда я начал заниматься с Ромой, все по-другому было. Другие тренировки, другая подготовка. 3 года назад, как я пришел к нему в 22 году, с этого дня началось полностью меняться. Я начал меняться как боксер.
So back there,
на 180 градусов.
he started training with Roma since 2022. Since 2022, and he said
21.
everything changed. 21? Okay, so 21, 3 years ago, and everything changed since. I personally believe that Roma just took all of his power and speed and everything and kind of put it together better way. So, yeah, basically everything changed since, and I became a different fighter, completely different fighter. So discard everything you've seen before that.
All right. Tip Bellis in D.C. says, how do you feel about a fight between you and Keith Thurman?
Хороший бой. Можем сделать, проблем нету.
Get fight, let's make it happen, no problem.
Он очень хороший боксер.
He's a very good fighter.
Would he, because now now I got to ask, would he want that fight over any of the other fights, or is this just a fight if he can't get what he wants, he'll take this because he's a name?
Ты что-то хотел до этого сказать или привести?
Да, я хотел...
He wants to add something.
Я хотел сказать, после моего боя с Tszyu, Турман сказал, что типа Tszyu не такой-то уж и сильный, поэтому если он считает, что он сильнее, то мы можем тоже посмотреть на это.
He wants to add...
Потому что многие люди после этого боя начали очень много критики в сторону Тима отправлять. Но я считаю это неправильно, потому что до этого он выиграл очень хороших бойцов. И он был реально очень сильной угрозой в этом весе. Не просто так с ним хотели драться все. Поэтому из-за одного поражения, что не надо так сильно, как сказать, унижать человека, критиковать человека.
He's like, he saw the interview after the fight. Keith Thurman said that he doesn't think that Tszyu was such a good fighter as people thought. He's like, maybe he thinks he's a better fighter than we can make it happen. And then also he says that it was unfair towards Tszyu that everyone, because of this loss, put him down, that he's not nothing, he's this and that. But it's unfair towards him. What about all those wins? He beat some great fighters before that, and he was a big threat at the division. He's like, what about those wins? He beat some big names. He beat the guy who beat Charlo. He stopped him. So what about those fights? And then I'll translate your question. и он говорит, ты бы хотел с Турманом подраться из-за того, что ты думаешь, он заслуживает бой за пояс, или из-за того, что у него большое имя?
Просто имя, как он может заслужить бой за пояс.
And to your question, answer, I don't think Turman deserves a title fight, but I'll fight him because of his name, yeah.
Это только так, если так, что я не смогу объединять пояса. Но вот для меня номер один победитель Фундора Спенс и Кроуфорд. После этого только идут все остальные. После этого мы можем их рассмотреть.
Okay, but that's not his priority. His priority is the title unifications, winner of Fundora and Spence, or Terence Crawford. If he cannot fight them, he'll fight big name. He wouldn't want to fight names like that.
Или, как они сказали, можно подняться и подраться с Ларой. Тоже Лара очень большое имя и очень сильный боксер. В последнем бою он очень легко разделался.
Это типа во время того, как ты ждешь?
Да.
Типа, чтобы тот пояс остался.
Если те не будут драться.
He's like, or if it takes a long time, he's like, I have no problem moving up to 160, fight Lara for a belt, keep my belt, and then defend my belt as well.
All right, all right. You guys still have
I
time?
got a quick question.
Go
I got
ahead.
a quick question just for the coach. What is it in the coach that what he does that makes it different from other coaches that makes you so successful? Because having a good coach is important. So what is it that the coach is doing, whether it be drills, the game plan, and could you explain that for the casual fan who doesn't understand that coaching is a big part of getting your fighter to be able to perform some of the things you need them to perform in the square circle?
Что, говорит, что такого особенного в твоем тренере? Объясни обычному фанату, который не понимает, насколько важен тренер вообще в карьере.
I think that was for the coach, right? Right, Troy? You want the coach to answer that, right?
Yeah, no, they both can answer, but the coach is very important because he said it made a difference in 2022, and that's important. And people need to hear that how having a good coach can help your career. Career could be going one point, but then change. That's kind of like a qualitative analysis, but you still that change within a manager, the coach's position could really help a fighter. So that's why I wanted them just to explain that.
Во-первых, я должен доверять ему, он должен быть хорошим человеком. Если ты доверяешь своему тренеру, то ты просто делаешь то, что он тебе говорит. Для меня самое главное – это доверие и уважение к человеку, с кем я работаю. Если я его уважаю, то я слушаюсь то, что он говорит. Мне очень много вещей не нравится, которые Рома дает. Мне трудно это делать, я не люблю это делать. Но так как я ему доверяю, я знаю, что это он делает для меня, поэтому я просто делаю свою работу. В первую очередь, это доверие к человеку.
He says, first thing, the most important for me is a trust towards the person. He has to be a good person that I can trust. So when it comes to the trust and if I respect the person, obviously towards Roma, then I will listen and do whatever he tells me to do without any questioning at all. He says there's a lot of things that I don't like doing it that Roma tells me to do, but since we have that trust, I will just go for it and do it. I will not ask questions because I know what he knows what he's doing.
I got Lando says greetings from Oregon. He has one part of this you guys already answered. So the second part is, do you like fighting and training in the United States?
Тебе нравится драться и тренироваться в Америке?
Да, я тут живу, мне тут очень комфортно, поэтому да, я бы хотел драться, в основном в Америке, так как я это и делаю.
Yeah, he's comfortable here. He lives here now.
Okay.
He wants to fight only here, mostly majority of time.
I got Davey So Art that says, do you prefer managers and promoters seeking prize fights for fighters, or do you believe the rankings should dictate the fights? Meaning 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, etc. All champions, mandatories, unifications, and undisputed fights.
Ты хочешь, ты поддерживаешь больше то, чтобы менеджера и промоутеры выбирали большие бои, либо справедливее, чтобы там 3-4 номером рейтинги дрались. Правильно.
Но в любом случае сильный должен драться с сильными, чемпионы должны драться с чемпионами, и если, грубо говоря, чемпионы не могут драться с чемпионами, то они должны защищать свои пояса с бойцом, которые идут в рейтинге. Вот, например, Тszyu был обязательным претендентом, у меня не было выбора, хотел бы я, не хотел, мне приходилось с ним драться, поэтому если я являюсь чемпионом какой-то организации, я должен уважать их правила и не искать выгодные бои для себя в первую очередь. Если эта организация дала мне шанс, дала мне шанс выиграть их пояс, мне надо соблюдать их условия. Это, я думаю, будет правильно.
I think strongest fighters have to fight strong fighters. Champions have to fight champions. Tszyu was mandatory, so I had no choice but to fight him. Do I like it or not? Doesn't matter. I'm a champion at the IBF champion, and I have to respect their rules and I have to respect their decisions
Но,
for the opportunity they gave me to become a champion.
но есть такие бойцы, которые на протяжении 10-15 лет находятся на самом высоком уровне. Они всем все доказали, поэтому эти боксеры, эти люди заслуживают, могут выбирать, кого хотят.
But there's also another side that there's a fighters that for the 10 years they've been proving themselves. They have nothing else to prove to anyone, so they deserve to fight whoever they want to fight and make all their money.
Это то же самое касается и Крофорда. Он всем все доказал, он может выбирать. Если он захочет драться, я буду очень рад. Если он не захочет драться, я его понимаю.
He's like same thing with Crawford. You know, he already proved everyone who he is, and he's done everything in the sport. If he wants to fight, we can fight. I would love to share a ring with him, but if not, I understand.
That's big of him, man. Shout out to him for understanding that. Because there are fans that believe that, that Crawford is entitled to do what he wants at this stage of his career, kind of like Canelo and kind of like Mayweather.
Заслуживает делать, что хочет, как Canelo.
100%.
Like 100%, I agree.
Shout out to
They
him.
never been punched in their mouth, so it's hard for them to agree if they never been punched.
Говорит, они никогда не получали. Из-за этого им тяжело согласиться с этим.
We got Adrian that says, should we be expecting to see you versus Lubin in Orlando soon? By the way, great performance.
Про него я там много чего не знаю, но я знаю, что парень уже несколько лет не дерется, и там он с Tszyu вроде должен был драться, от него он там пару раз отказался, как команда Tszyu говорит. Но я не знаю, ты не можешь получить большие бои, если ты ни с кем не дерешься. Если ты просто говоришь, там пишешь что-то там в соцсетях, это тебя не должно никак продвигать, ты должен показывать своими боями. То же самое, даже его последний бой вызывает очень много споров. Поэтому я не знаю.
Yeah, basically based on the Tszyu wording, whatever team was saying that, they had few opportunities to fight and it never happened. He hasn't fought for a long time. He doesn't fight anybody, and even his last performance was very questionable. The win was very questionable to me, and I don't think he deserves that fight. He needs to start fighting in order to get a big fight, but he doesn't fight anybody.
You talking about Lubin?
Yes.
Also, you thought he lost versus Ramos?
Я не скажу, что он проиграл, но это был, непонятный бой. Это была неубедительная победа в любом случае. Это был равный бой. Я, например, по телевизору посчитал, что Рамос выиграл.
I think definitely he lost, my personal opinion.
Yeah, but Bakhram says, I don't know. When I was watching on TV, I thought he lost the fight, but also, even if he won, it was a very close fight. It wasn't like superior fight that lets him wait for so long and fight for the title. Basically, he's waiting to fight a winner. The champion has to wait for them to fight each other.
So technically, Bakhram is within his right to give anybody within the top 15 a voluntary defense, right? Because he's complied with his mandatory defense.
Ты свой мандатори уже выполнил. Да. Ты можешь теперь топ-15 с кем угодно драться, если захочешь.
Да, я надеюсь, что я буду объединять. Я хочу драться победитель Спенс Фондора или Кроуфорд.
He's like, yeah, I am. I have that right, but I hope I unify titles
Это
next.
мой приоритет.
My priority is a winner of the Spence versus Fundora or Terence Crawford.
Nice. I got AB Boxing World. If you could have any fight next, who would it be? Earl Spence, Jermell Charlo, or a unification with Fundora Crawford? He kind of just answered that. I'm sorry if any of these are redundant, but we'll take his answer a few seconds unless he wants to add anything.
Charlo, Fundora, Crawford, Spence. Если бы ты мог выбрать.
Рома, кого бы мы выбрали? Я слушаю
Neither
тренера,
one.
кого он скажет, с тем будем драться. Рома
Any
видит,
of those are good options.
Рома видит бокс по-другому и соперников, поэтому он знает, с кем лучше драться.
He's like my coach Roma. He sees fighters a little differently than I am, so he knows who's better to fight. So whoever he wants us to fight, if we have a choice, we'll go based on him, on his decision.
Whoever hurries up and sends us a contract.
All right. But you don't have a
Hey,
preference,
Ness, I got to
Roma.
get up out of here, bro. I just wanted to
All
thank Bakhram for coming on here. Shukran, salam. I wish you the best in your career, inshallah. And you guys keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you.
Roma, do you have a preference?
From all of those names that you mentioned, they're all good options. Of course, the best option would be either Crawford or the winner of the Spence and Fundora, because that's what he really wants to do. He wants to unify. So I think those are the best options. Well, I don't know why, but I kind of have a hard time seeing Spence doing it. So maybe the Errol and Fundora fight,
All right. I got Conscious Games says, love from San Diego, California. Question, how much does Bakhram think his faith plays a role in his fights?
How much what?
Faith. Yeah. How about Curly?
Сколько вера действует в пользу?
Это для меня номер один ничего не имеет в этой жизни. Для меня более ценного, чем моя вера. Это номер один с большим отрывом от всего.
That's number one thing for me, my faith to my religion, and it's like very far ahead from everything else.
Если Всевышний захочет, я могу выиграть любого человека на этой планете. И если Всевышний захочет, я могу проиграть самому слабому человеку на этой планете. Поэтому все мои победы, все мои достижения в этой жизни только от Всевышнего. Люди без помощи Всевышнего не имеют вообще никакой силы и ничего они из себя не представляют.
We humans, without help of God, have nothing. We're nothing at all. And all my victories, all my successes, and all my life defeats, they come from God. If God wants to, I will beat anyone in the world. If God wants to, I'll lose to the weakest fighter in the world. So it's all up to God.
I got It's Cannons with many people feeling that they don't know how much of this win, quote unquote, is Tim's mental state versus, quote unquote, how good you perform. Do you feel that you have a lot more to prove as the, quote unquote, new kid on the block? This guy's funny.
Понял?
Нет, переводи.
Только чувствую.
Это что говорит, ты не видишь, что ли?
So, он говорит, многие думают, что Тима поражение это было больше его ментальная неподготовленность, чем твоя форма. Ты думаешь, что тебе нужно больше доказать в этом дивизионе?
Да, я думаю, что, скорее всего, Tszyu выиграл этот бой. И я думаю, что, да, эти фанаты правильные. И его сильно засудили в этом бою. И я думаю, скорее всего, наверное, мне надо поехать в Австралию и отдать ему пояс. Я думаю, скорее всего, его сильно засудили в этом бою. Фанаты правильно говорят.
So I believe that, I gotta fly out to Australia and give him his title. I think the fans are right. I actually lost that fight, and Tszyu is a winner.
All right. I got Mark from Miami that says, great performance on the fight. A lot of people know who you are now because of that fight. We've seen fighters like Canelo and Khabib's career go to another level by learning English. Is that something you would be interested in?
Ты видел, как Канела и Хабиба, допустим, карьера пошла очень сильно в гору из-за того, что они выучили английский. Как ты думаешь, тебе...
Я уже начал учить английский, теперь буду учить его.
I already studied English and I'm gonna study harder.
All right. Do you guys already have a relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh? Like, has he contacted you? Is that those conversations open, the airwaves?
Ты с Туркашей, ты понял?
Да, он звонил, Эгис с ним хорошо общается, он ему звонил перед боем, я разговаривал с Турки-шейхом, разговаривал, да, хороший парень.
Yeah, right. A great guy. Right before the fight, he actually called my manager Agis and me. I was on the phone with him. He wished us good luck. Great person.
Я
Yeah,
понял, что он явно болеет за меня в этом бою.
and since he FaceTimed me right before the fight, I was sure that he's actually on my side.
Does he feel, and did Al-Sheikh give any indication that he's gonna try and make that Crawford fight?
Он какие-то намеки кидал, что хочет Крофорда бой сделать?
Нет, мы с ним так не общаемся, он просто пожелал удачи, сказал, что он смотрит бой, и нет, ничего такого не было, и посмотрим, мы ждем.
We will see, but no, we don't talk to him like that. He just called and he wished me good luck, and he said he's going to be watching the fight.
Я думаю, если он захочет, он может любой бой организовать. Но желательно, чтобы он организовал его в Америке.
I think if he wants to, he will make any fight happen, but preferably if the fight would happen in America.
All right. Oh, he would rather it happen in America.
Yes.
So what is it about Saudi that he wouldn't want to fight? Is it the time zone? Is it just so his family can be there? What exactly?
Почему, в чем разница между Саудовской Аравией и Америкой, что ты так хочешь в Америке драться?
Вы видели, как я провел последний бой, значит, мне комфортно в Америке драться.
I mean, you saw how I fought my last fight, so I'm comfortable to fight here.
Мне нравится драться там, где я тренируюсь. И на данный момент я живу уже долгое время в Америке, тренируюсь в Америке, поэтому и все, что со мной происходит в Америке, это был, для меня приоритет именно в плане спортивного продвижения.
He's like, I like to fight where I train, and whatever happens in every fight that I fight, I'm comfortable here because it's better for my future sport achievements.
All right, Shiny Suits out of the Mile High Club. Can you share your thoughts on preparing to defend your title as the unknown B-side to the public?
Say it again. Can you share your thoughts?
On preparing to defend your title as the unknown B-side to the public. Obviously, he was the champion, but Tszyu was being treated as the known fighter.
Ты можешь поделиться своими мыслями о том, что ты был как Б-сторона, хотя ты чемпион был, когда ты защищал свой пояс?
Бокс же это политика. Они считали, что он раскручивает бой. Он делал всю работу, медиа-работу, это все было на Tszyu, и поэтому, что он сторона Б, сторона А, я там сторона А, Б, В, Г, там разницы вообще никакой нету, потому что когда мы заходим в ринг, все уходят, все выходят, и мы остаемся лицом к лицу, и только рефери может помешать вести бой.
No, it didn't matter to me. I'm A, B, C, D, E side. Doesn't matter. Tszyu was promoting the fight. Tszyu was a more famous fighter, so it didn't matter until we entered the ring and only referees standing between us and he could stop the fight.
I got Ali and Dago. Salute, champ. I was one of the few people who picked you to beat Tim. You won me $500. I appreciate you, champ. So, no question, just showing love.
Кто-то говорит, просто благодарите, ты для него выиграл $500. Нету вопросов, просто спасибо.
You're welcome.
Send him some hand rolls.
Go ahead, Tone.
Champ, I wanted to ask you. I did read that your hand was actually broke going into the Tszyu fight. How often previous in the past have you fought through adversity, and how important is it for you to fight through adversity?
Я слышал, что у тебя рука была сломана до боя с Дю, и как сложно было это
Ну, это был,
драться
это,
с такими помехами и вообще.
это был мизинец, это только мизинец на правой руке, он до сих пор еще опухший.
Покажи.
Ну, тут не
You,
видно.
It
you
was
can
all-
actually
it-
see the knuckle is gone. See right here.
It was a knuckle on the pinky
There's knuckle right
side, but not
Там
the whole hand.
кость ушла вовнутрь, ее уже нет.
So the bone kind of went inside the hand. It's on the pinky, his right hand.
Ну, то, что это именно имеется в виду, ну, вот мизинец, она не так сильно может тревожить, как если бы это была бы там середина пальца или что-то. Да, был дискомфорт, когда мы начали уже перед боем работать на лапах. Я там пару раз ударил правой снизу, и она заболела, но я понимал, что это сейчас уже точно отступать некуда. И Тszyu, когда нам столько назначили бой, он начал говорить, что у него есть такое предчувствие, что Бахрам может не выйти на бой. Но у меня никогда не было, что я не выходил на бой из-за травмы, в отличие от него. Поэтому любому человеку и на будущее там, моим соперникам или кому-то другому лучше меньше говорить, но больше делать. Потому что рано или поздно за свои слова придется отвечать. И именно из-за этих слов, которые Тszyu говорил до боя, люди так сильно сейчас его хейтят.
So thankfully it was only pinky. So during the fight, if it was in the middle, like middle finger or the
Middle knuckles.
any a knuckle in the middle somewhere, there would be a lot of different. But it was a little discomfort, especially when I started doing meat work right before the fight. But I knew in the fight adrenaline, and it wouldn't matter. And also, the plus Tszyu was mentioning several times that he's worried that I'm gonna pull out a fight. And which is not actually never been the case with me, and it was the case with him that he pulled out the fights. And one of the reasons people hate on him now and they trash him so much is because how much he talked about everything, and and whatever happened. It's advice to my future opponents, anyone that I'm gonna fight, that better don't talk too much, just prove everything in the ring, because then this hate is gonna fall on you.
So to be clear, it wasn't the right hand, it was just the right hand pinky.
It wasn't pinky, it was
The knuckle right here. Watch.
Knuckle.
The last knuckle right here. You can see actually.
right above the
You
pinky.
see it?
All right.
Yeah, the knuckle
We
is-
got. Go ahead. Okay. We got Oscar in Central. Do you still have time? You guys still have time?
5 more minutes because he has to leave at 1.
All right. You let me
yes.
know. You let me know when to stop, and we stop. We got Oscar in Central Valley, California. Salute, champ. Congratulations on the win. 154 pounds is the hottest division in boxing. That being said, Crawford, Ortiz, Madrimov, Boacek, Fundora, which one would you consider your toughest fight?
Самый сейчас, на мнение кого спрашивают, по его мнению, самый тяжелый дивизион сейчас 154 паунда. Кто из этих имен, Мадримов, Богарчук, Крофорд, Спенс, Фондора, кто из них ты считаешь самый тяжелый для тебя бой стилистически?
Ну, я думаю, конечно, Крофорд.
Of course, it's true.
Крофорд выше всех остальных на голову.
He says that Crawford is better than everyone else, at least like one head.
Но тренер может видеть это по-другому. Надо, я думаю, его тоже.
But
чтобы
it's
он
better to
сказал.
ask my coach. He might see it differently, but I think Crawford is better than all of them. Ron, what do you think?
I think they are great fighters, man. I think most of the names you mentioned, they're all probably Hall of Famers, and they're all great champions. Not gonna diss anybody. Not gonna say, oh, one is better than the other one. They're all good. And then when we get the paper to sign, then we'll think about it.
Roma, how'd you have that fight scored with Crawford? I had an 8-4 Crawford.
Well, Crawford won for sure, 100%, and he did so nicely. He didn't take big chances. He didn't risk it. He didn't need to. He just needed to win. That's it, and he did it.
So you weren't disappointed there was no knockout to continue that streak. I think he was on an 11-fight knockout streak.
I was actually very happy that I can watch the whole 12 rounds. I was enjoying it.
Старый.
Bakhram?
Как ты думаешь, кто выиграл этот бой? Кроуфорд выиграл или тот бой с Мадримовым? Какой счет ты считаешь был?
Ну, я смотрел около ринга этот бой. Я думаю, это был 8-4.
He says he thinks it was
И
8-4. He was ringside for that fight. He thinks 8-4 for Crawford.
All right. Again, anything that we've asked you, you don't have to answer. We're just gonna say it so that they know we read it. Rod in LA says, who would you like to fight next to prove your win over Tszyu was no fluke? He said Crawford. They asked, we got Esau that says, Elias says, would you fight Earl or unify with Crawford? You already said Crawford. And the last one is from Huang in Houston that says, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Can you share with us the hardships of fasting while in training camp?
Можешь подробнее объяснить тяжести твоего поста во время тренировочного лагеря? Что именно, с чем ты именно сталкивался?
Ну, это было просто очень тяжело. Очень тяжело. 16-17 часов в день я не мог ни пить, ни кушать. И только там с 8 до 5 утра у меня был какой-то перерыв, где я могу попить, покушать, но из-за того, что были
С 8 вечера до 5 утра?
сильные тренировки, я не мог еще и нормально кушать, потому что на тренировке бы потом не смог бы тренироваться. Это было очень тяжело, но слава Всевышнему, какой бы сложный бой ни получился, какая бы сложная подготовка ни была, я завоевал титул на выезде, что более ценное, нежели бы соперник приехал бы сюда. Поэтому, да, это было очень тяжело, но это был хороший опыт. И я думаю, после таких тренировок и меня там ничто не может, наверное, удивить.
It was a very good experience actually, but it was very hard. Imagine for 17 hours, for the whole time, for 17 hours a day, I cannot even drink water. I cannot eat, and the time from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. that I can eat and drink, I cannot even eat too much because I have to train. So it was a very difficult experience, and especially winning the fight in his hometown, that was even more difficult. Flying over there than if he would have fought here, but I consider it as a good experience because after that, I don't think anything can break me.
Было такое ощущение, что я как будто вампир, могу только ночью выходить, а днем мне приходится спячку.
It's like I had a feeling at some point that I thought that I'm a vampire, that I can only go outside during the night, and I have to stay in for the daytime.
I have two more, one for Roma and one for Bakhram. Roma, out of all the fighters that Bakhram can face, which is the corner that you most likely want to be against as a trainer, because he has to fight the fighter, but you obviously have a job to go against potentially Bomac, Red Spikes, and Isu, or, the father of Fundora, or et cetera, et cetera. Do you have a preference of what team you want to get a win over?
Nothing personal. I don't really know these people. I respect all of them. I don't care who I go against. There's nothing personal. I mean, it's sports, so I shake the hands before, I shake the hands after. But, I like to get shot at those 2 titles with Fundora and Spence winner. And
right.
yeah, nothing personal. I don't care who their trainer is, who the family is. Respect to all of them.
And for Bakhram, I got Octo with the last one. It says, greetings, champ. Congratulations on the win. What's your favorite punch to throw? And give us one movie we should watch.
Favorite punch to throw in this fight?
No, in general, his favorite punch.
Какой у тебя лучший свой любимый удар выпускать? И поделись, какой у тебя любимый фильм, который им надо посмотреть обязательно.
Ну, насчет удара такого нету. Наверное, скорее всего, правый через руку. Фильм «Бригада». Это сериал даже.
Что-то американского или... Я даже не знаю, как «Бригада» перевести.
Он российский фильм. Я не знаю, он же говорит сказать. Вот это скажи.
So yeah, my favorite punch is probably overhand right, but not in particular. And favorite movie is a Russian TV show called I don't even know how to translate that.
Just say in Russian.
Yeah, he called Brigada. So it's basically
It's like a band, like
Yeah, it's a gang
Это
basically.
единственный, ну, сериал, который я, может, наверное, 10 раз пересмотрел.
That's the only TV show I watched it probably like 10 times. So it's a show about these 4 people. They're like they grew up together and they build a gang, and it's a whole TV show about their life. It's pretty good
Это
actually.
фильм, который рассказывает про 90-е годы, когда вот это развал СССР был самое тяжелое время.
So it's a show what explains about 1990s after when USSR got separated, and there was a hardest time in post-Soviet countries where a lot of gangs would actually like control every country. Russia, Ukraine, all those countries would be controlled by gangs only. So that's a show about that. It's pretty good actually. If you guys can watch it with subtitles, you should watch it for sure.
Well, that is the
Is
last
that on
question.
Netflix? Is that on Netflix?
Is it on Netflix?
No.
It's
It's on YouTube. No, but I'm sure you can find it with subtitles. It's called Brigada. I will text Amin.
All right.
the name.
Those are all the questions. If you want to give out Bakhram's social media for anyone that isn't follow him, can follow him. And obviously your social media and the trainer, Coach Roma's social media, please do so. And once again, thank you guys for coming on the show and giving us this exclusive. We appreciate it. And congratulations once again on the win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He also just started pushing his Twitter. I mean, he doesn't have too much following, so people don't think it's fake. He posted on his story which one it is, so they can follow it too. He's going to be more active on it.
Want to give that social media out? His Twitter?
It's a Bakhram95. That's the only Twitter page is his.
Instagram no say yeah.
And his Instagram,
Тоже так.
Bakhram95, his Instagram page. I'm
All
sure
right.
that's to find.
Well, once again, thank you guys for coming on and appreciate the time. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Roma. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Varden.
Varden and
Yes.
Bakhram. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.